Hi, good morning, good evening, as per your time zone. I'm Kumkum Sharma from Izenbridge, and I'm back again on my open hour session, episode 31. 35. So, yeah, since last 35 episode, we are committed, we are running, we are entertaining your questions because agenda is very simple here. Whatever questions you have related to your career, your journey, your growth, just feel free to ask here. The format is very simple. If you are watching this from YouTube, LinkedIn, or Facebook, just add your question in the comment box and I'll add your question and Saket will answer your question. So, without wasting any more time, guys, just share your questions and we'll answer your questions. And thank you very much, Saket, joining me again.
Perfect. Yeah. So
So,
it's
Saket,
great
as
to.
we promised last time, I would like to start this session with the IESM, the Industries Enabled Scrum Master Program. So, can we talk about that program? And as we are done with our first batch and successfully everybody completed the certification and the training. So, yeah, what is your opinion about it?
Okay, so it's like what the good trend is. We do see the popularity of industry specific training programs increasing. It's not only our program; we also see many other people also coming and launching the non certification but industry focused program. So I see that's a very positive trend overall because we were seeing more and more trainings were happening for getting certified rather than helping people to learn something which is happening in the industry. So this trend I see is going to stay, and especially people who are doing career transition. I think that's a very useful training program or which one can go through. The IESM, which we did last week, we did it in a 2 weeks separation. We were thinking that it will run like 3.5 hours per session, but we end up running 4 hours per session. So we have changed the duration to 16 hours now. And we also have added some kind of a follow-up to support our people who are just been through that particular training program in 2 weeks' time. So we are getting good feedback. People are getting, even some of the individuals who joined the program are also already got placed as a scrum master because they were just lacking few things, and which those things got fixed in the program, and that's something got worked out. So that's something is happening now. Looking at the success and the demand of the industry specific program, we are also working on the product owner program. We are working with one of the industry product owner who she is willing to help us in exploring and helping people who want to learn the industry specific skills related to product ownership. So if someone is interested in doing that, they can come and join us. And on the same line, we have created a smaller module which is only focusing on Jira. So it's a kind of 8 hour session, far less commitment. That's another thing which one can look into if they are looking for Jira specific details. So as of now, we have 3 industry enabled programs: the Scrum Master, the Product Owner, and the Jira specific one. We do wish to launch the project manager program as well, primarily starting with reporting, matrices, and overall helping the project management things. Yeah. So let's see how things goes. And I see a lot of some of the questions are here. Let's pick up some and we go one by one. So hi RK, good to see you here. Yeah, you can keep joining, and you can also join the clubhouse session. That's something I also want to invite, especially for those people um, who have been part through our CSM, SAFE, or Agile coaching class. So why don't you come to a clubhouse as well? Okay, so we have a question saying, what is the best to creative way to make collaboration among Scrum teams? So I would say, if someone knows a simple answer to it, then that organization or that manager could be the most successful manager or leader. Because see, if we can make people motivated, if we can make them collaborate with each other, our job is done. So the whole problem of the leadership and facilitation and all these structure is that we need to make sure that how do we make people collaborate now. And I believe this is a problem which is a changing problem. You may do something today, but it may change tomorrow. And it also varies from individuals, the group dynamics which you see in that particular environment. So I don't think there could be a universal approach for handling it. At the same time, you can pick up some of the ideas which might help you as a principle. So there could be some principles which can help you, and then you can build on top of it. Simple principles like transparency. How do you ensure that people can empathize with each other work? There is no hidden work here and there, so we can see each other work, so we understand the pain the other team member might be going through. So bringing transparency in the system is useful. Making people know each other. Yeah, so I can simply say that we need to build trust, but the whole process of building trust may take multiple steps. And one of the possible step could be that we ensure that they have a time where they can explore each other's personality. So they spend time doing something which is not directly related to the work as well. So creating some team building activities, ensuring that they have some amount of understanding of each other, that is also a good foundation to create a open communication. So we want to have an open communication, transparent communication, but I only want to do an open communication if I trust someone. And in order to trust someone, I need to spend more time and know that person very well. So that's something is also needed. If these things may work in a long-term space. To start with, one can start with having some kind of a team charter, some kind of a working agreement, so we are clear who is expected to do what and what is expected behavior in this particular space. So one can start with the team charter, and over a period of time can focus on trust and transparency stuff, which can help us in building that. So again, few ideas, there could be many more, but that's the emerging problem, ever changing problem in my view. Yeah. Okay, so what is the best way to deal with unpunctual team members, especially on Scrum ceremonies? So in general, we should not, if I am the Scrum Master, if I need to ensure that the ground rules related to attending the meeting, related to attending it on time, related to updating something has to be followed. That's something I am thinking about. So the simplest way to start with, if possible, again, the things may vary depending upon person and the team. First, I need to facilitate creating the team charter or a working agreement. So it is created by the team. Yeah, so we need to have an agreement, what time we meet and why. Yeah, so there has to be clarity and agreement on it. Inside that agreement, we also need to have a mechanism to address how do we take care if someone is not meeting the agreement. So you should have some mechanism to take care of non-compliance of your ground rules. And that's something team should create it. They may put a small fine, they may put some act, they may put some type of job who has to, those kind of jobs has to be done by those people who are coming late, something like that. So team has to figure it out, what is that ground rule enforcement agreement. And once that is there, then you ensure that that agreement is followed. Yeah, so it's a team way of working. Now, in general, we have some kind of an agreement and structure to work on. And if someone is not able to adhere to it, we need to have a conversation. If it's just a casualness and the person may not care for others' time, then you need to do something specific for that particular person. It may be that you can't have that person in your team. That could be an ultimate situation, which can happen once in a few years, but you may end up having that kind of situation as well. But provided the person, each one of you, understand the importance of other people's time, understand the reason behind the ground rules, there could be some exceptions, and we can have an agreement of how many exceptions one can have. But beyond that, we should have some mechanism to take care of it. That's the simple approach. But yeah, I do see the enforcement may require some kind of process and agreement from the team. Yeah. So work on team charter, working agreement, and mechanism to enforce it. Yeah. Okay, so hi, is the work status report is a part of Scrum? Now it depends upon, so definitely it's not part of Scrum guide. Yeah, that much is easy to say. Now your Scrum and my Scrum may be different, because Scrum guide is a starting Scrum, and after that we need to see how do we convert that. So in a project management space, we need to produce some kind of periodic reports to ensure stakeholder communication. Even if you are following Scrum, in some environments, you may need that. And Scrum never stops you adding things to the Scrum. The Scrum Guide gives you a basic skeleton to start with. You need to add things, whatever makes sense to you. So Scrum answer would be, it depends. If you have need for it, you must have done retrospective about it. And if it adds value, why don't you have it? If it is just a waste of time, it's just a waste of everybody's effort, why should you have it? Even if you have it, you should discard it. So that's how the Scrum looks at it. Do your retrospective on work status report. But yes, it's not a defined artifact to start with. The basic Scrum to start with does not talk about having work status report. Okay. So I can see this one. So I need Jira-specific training, advanced queries, matrices, agile matrices. So these things are covered in our Jira training. Please try it out. The 𝐎𝐸𝐞𝐧 and various way of querying it, various way of configuring it. You can see our content outline. We cover it fairly detailed. We also have around 14 videos on Jira. Many of your matrices like burn down chart, say Pareto analysis, if I recall, these are the things which are already there in the video format on our YouTube channel. But if you want to feel it, do it, then you can probably join our training as well to learn that part. But try it out, our videos on the YouTube. Okay, so what are the ways to drive the change empathetically? So I would say just develop empathy. So once you have an empathy, you can take care of the things as you go forward. That's the simple thing. So various, like we teach, we have not yet formally announced that program, but these content are part of our IC Agile coaching program as well. And there will be a specific program which is coming for a transformation called IC Agile CAT. So that's a certified Agile program, transformation program coming in. Now, the basic thing is that these programs at a high level or anyone generically can tell you the model. These are the things you need to take care. But the real implementation depend upon your own situation, your context, who are against, like in front of you. But in general, one of the model which we promote even in our coaching program as well as in our CAT program is called SCARF, which talks about that respect people, give them freedom, relate to them, and then like show them the path forward, so then they will collaborate with you. So following things like not attacking people, empathizing with them, don't give them a just straightforward instruction, but giving them choices, helping them to relate to what is happening, helps you to build the overall empathy or a movement for the change. So that's what I can say, that if you do empathy modeling of your target profile, you create an empathy map of it, you may get a lot of idea because of that empathy map, what could be the concerns, pains and gains. So empathy map, if you Google it, it talks about looking at the person or a persona and thinking of what are the major feelings, pains, gains, options, hearing that person is going through. And when you get into the mindset of that person, you will find out how we should communicate with that particular person. Okay, so can you please help me to understand when roadmap should be created and how it is different from release plan? So in a simple word, we can say that roadmap, is a direction which is at higher level. So say an individual like you may have a vision for getting into starting your own company. That's your vision. You want to get into some kind of business. That's your vision. Now, how do you get there? As of now, you are doing your job. So you may say my roadmap for reaching there is that I will do A type of job, I will do B type of job, and then I will start C type of job, and then I will get into the business, because A, B, and C type of job will help me in learning those skills. So that's a roadmap. That's the overall direction. You don't have a clear a plan for doing it. It's a direction you are taking, and that direction will evolve as you move forward. Ultimately, this direction leads to your vision, your goal of starting the business. That's the whole path. Now, for that direction, this direction could be a 3-year, 4-year, 5-year kind of direction plan, roadmap. Now, for an upcoming duration, for a type of thing, you will have an intermediate milestones. For the upcoming milestones, which might be coming in 6 months to 1 year, you may have a detailed plan, emerging detailed plan, And the detailing of the plan may be too much for the month now, but the upcoming month may be little vaguely explained. So that's what we call in the agile way. The roadmap is something which is giving you, like in a simple word, 3 to 5 year direction for your product, that this is what we want to do. These are the possible versions we want to build in. This is the type of problem we are going to solve in this much time. And this is how we are going to achieve our vision. Whereas a release talks about the upcoming release. Say you have a upcoming version 1.1. And in the 1.1, there might be 6 months, 5 months duration, which needs to be achieved. So you want to have a high level plan to reach to that particular upcoming release. And on a detailing basis, you will have your iteration plan, which gives you clear, specific instruction for what you should do in the coming week. So it is just like anything we do in our day-to-day life as well as in our management space. The detailing of the planning is a function of when are we going to execute it. There is no use of making a detailed plan of something which you are going to do after 5 years, because things will change. It will be just waste of time. So roadmap is a high level thing which is not having very detailing, but it gives you a direction. It shows you how are you going to achieve your vision. It shows you how your small effort will help you in achieving something which is large. And now second level detailing will be your release plan, and the more detailed level release planning will be your iteration or a sprint planning. So that's how roughly we can use it. Yeah, so roadmap will be a collection of milestones. That's something you can say. And the release will talk about how are you going to achieve the upcoming milestone at a little bit more detailed level. Yeah. Okay, so WSR is a weekly status report. So I think same way. Yeah, you can say that you don't need it, but if you have to add it for because of any reason, you can add it. That's something uh, 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 we can say it. Yeah. Okay, so great. Thank you for keep visiting our club sessions. Yeah, and probably it will be useful in by way of putting more and more ideas. We will put more videos, and hopefully they will help you further. Yeah. Now we have a question. Let's go one by one. How can we influence leadership to move away from multiple matrices and focus on outcome matrices only? So we spoke about matrices in our previous session as well, but I just wanted to continue. It's more about like the previous someone said, how do we empathize with people? So we need to just understand why someone needs something and how those needs can be taken care with less number of things. So if someone needs 10 information from you, 10 matrices from you, what is the objective of those 10 matrices? How those 10 matrices helps that person in making decision or deciding what is falling under his role. Yeah. So if I can understand what all data is needed, I probably can help him in simplifying his job. You just don't want to reduce the matrix because it is too much work for you. You want to reduce the matrix because analyzing the matrix is also a work. So you don't want to create something so complicated which may into the details and not to make a decision using that particular data. So I need to understand what information is required in order to make a relevant decisions, and do we have specific set of matrices which provides those information. Periodically we need to simplify our data capturing, data processing, as well as data presenting thing. We do a continuous retrospective. We can do a matrix related retrospective as well, or you can put those things in your retrospective of your team, as well as you can have a retrospective with the management also, where you can talk about how the previous matrices has helped them in making the decision and what are the consequences of not or creating those matrices or not creating those matrices. And on the basis of that, we periodically review and keep moving. So in a simple word, it's a retrospective process, and we look into the value added by a matrix and value, and there could be some metrics which are not value added. You can drop them because nobody is looking at it and they are just confusing everyone. Okay, so how do we know if your Scrum team, IPS team performing well, mentally, personally, professionally? Is there any specific things, a specific ask for in a retro? So there are many assessment. One of the basic thing you can start with, the Spotify team health check. That's a good starting point. You may not use the assessment as it is, but I think that's a good starting point to give you an idea how a possibly a team assessment can be done on a periodic level, and then you can modify it as per your context. You can change the question, you can change the dimensions which you want to include in your assessment. So start with Spotify because it's openly available, but yeah, you can find other paid assessments as well which can help you in doing the periodic team assessment. And you can definitely do as a part of a retro, or can have a special event for doing this. Yeah. Okay, so as a Scrum Master, what do you do when you get a blocker defect at the end of a sprint, but you have a one more story to work on and you don't have a capacity to pick that? So there could be many such situations where you need to make trade-offs. Now, a simple thing, trade-off means you need to choose something and leave something, or you need to take some discomfort. How do you make trade-off decisions? In a simple word, trade-off decisions are made by making the choices and the consequences of choices visible to the people who can make those kind of decision. Now, as a Scrum Master, you are not expected to make any decision. You are expected to facilitate decisions. So you can say that I have a situation. Now, who are the people who needs to get involved to find what should we do? How can we have an open interaction about it? So what is the cost of not fixing the defect? What is the cost of not doing the particular user story which you have planned? Which one is higher? Yeah. How it helps your business? If you see the defect is something which is blocking your team and team or blocking your production, and team is busy in creating the improvement in the product, what is the use of that improvement when the current product itself is not serving the customer? So again, it's a context base. Now there is a possibility the blocker is just like we have not put the thing into the production, but it is blocking our testing to move forward. So depending upon the context, we need to bring the right people in the discussion and they need to take a call. Now it is just not the team will decide. The team may not have a clear idea about what is the cost of the blocker, not fixing the blocker this hour. There will be definitely a business interaction, maybe with the help of product owner or maybe beyond that. And we need to interact, exchange the information and decide, because there will be many such situations where decision has to be made because we cannot get everything perfect. So bring the right people and then we move from there. Okay. So blocker is done. Okay. Do you have, if I am not, do you, thanks for the information. I joined new company as a Scrum Master. Need your advice how to proceed further. Okay, that's something. And there was, okay, let's start with, then I come back to the previous question about what is the management reporting. So in the previous conversation, previous clubhouse, this session as well, open hour as well, we had this conversation, and there is a clip available about it in case you want to check it out. That's a good thing to start with. Now, in general, when I am joining the organization, I need to do my preparation so that I become useful for the organization. Yeah. Before I am useful, I probably end up doing more mess than contribution. That's an important thing which I usually remind, irrespective of the role, to myself. Now, how do I make myself useful quickly? Now, I need to learn about my environment, which may include learning about the team, learning about the process, learning about the tool, learning about the product, learning about the stakeholder, going through the documentation available, observing my stakeholder, my team members, and learning. And based on those learning, I also identify, is there something I can contribute directly? Say I can facilitate, there could be few things which may not require environment understanding, I can contribute. So I start offering my help in those areas where I can contribute directly. And then I get ready for those areas where I can I need to learn something before I can start contributing. So you need to come up with your learning plan. You need to come up with your observation plan, and then come up with some set of activities which you can get started quickly, because you already have skills like facilitating, taking care of some of the administrative job, if that is also involved there. Now, based on these things, if you spend time 1 or 2 days learning, you will get an idea what should you do, how should you move forward. There may not be a defined task which one can do, because even if a one Scrum Master job may vary from another Scrum Master job, you might be working in a team which is pretty much self-organized. They can take care of a lot of stuff. And sometimes you might be working in a place where things are very chaotic and nobody's talking to each other. And you probably need to just start with making a team charter before you do anything else. So based on your observations, based on your interaction, you come up with your roadmap, a tentative roadmap. If you see it requires acceptance from the team members as well as other stakeholders, you take that and you start offering those things which you believe can help, and that's how you probably can proceed. So that's roughly, I can say, I believe this is a kind of a very broad thing, but yeah, it may work at any role and not only to the Scrum Master. Okay. What kind of a reports can be presented to management after the sprint end? Yeah, what is the possibility? So there are, like if you follow Jira, it talks about the sprint performance report or something like that. So it just gives the all the statistics which happened in the sprint. So as we have been discussing this metrics topic, it's again a matrix. The sprint ending things is all about the metrics. Now, what are the areas which you and your stakeholder might be concerned with? So you can think of, I want to reflect on areas like product quality, issues, people. So you need to identify those segments, and based on that you need to bring some information which can help people to remain aware what is happening in this particular team space, as well as you can probably also seek help and support in those areas where things are not working out. Like you may have an impediments which are not resolved for very long because of some external dependency. So you may want to put the impediments or the unresolved impediments as a part of your say sprint closure report. So in general, you talk about what has been done, how well you have achieved your goal. So usually you will see the goal completion coming in. Usually, again, it depends. There will be a section which talks about the historical trend of the velocity, which helps people to know how things are predicted. There will be a trend or information related to defects, how things are getting accumulated, how many got resolved, how many got raised, how the trend of defects is reducing with the help of your improvement. Some of the specific actions which has been taken, you may want to highlight too. And then you may want to talk about the open impediments if there are any. So this is like a very, very high level generic thing. But again, we need to work with the stakeholder, understand what are their needs specific to your project work. And based on those stakeholder needs, we might need to customize our information exchange. Don't take it just like a report. It just, the artifact is definitely a report, but that's your tool to communicate to the stakeholders who may not be able to attend your various ceremonies, but their support and engagement is needed. And it's an engagement level where they cannot come, but you need to engage with them with the help of some tool called a report. So yeah, most of the organization will have their own standards, but if those things are missing, or even if in some standards the information is very duplicative in nature, you might want to improve that. Yeah. Okay, so we go down. How should the Scrum Master approach build the psychological safety and trust? So I think we started with that question, but we can touch upon again. So if someone knows a direct script for it, then the job is done. It's a very easy life for everything, and all projects and organization problem will get resolved. So in a simple word, the trust and safety, to me, especially to me, looks very abstract things. They are like, okay, I want to do it, but I don't know what to do. Now, there are simple things which can probably improve the trust, and then you can take a more complicated stuff as well. which is more about transparency. I believe the transparency and knowing each other's competencies and weaknesses help me in building trust. And the psychological safety is primarily to deal with how do we accept each other, and your first level of working agreement or your own behavior, which are what are the type of things are appreciated, what are the type of things get criticized, plays a significant role in creating a team level culture. So you focus on ensuring that there is a good knowledge and learning about each other by way of doing a lot of team building activities, by way of bringing transparency in the system, by way of letting people know who is doing what, so transparency in the overall system. And then tolerance for failure, having some ground rules which ensures that some amount of basic things are always followed, helps you in building the trust and the type of environment which can help you in moving forward. Again, it could be a never ending journey. There will be people who might find this thing, trusting others, more difficult over others. So it is a very a mixed mode approach where the things may change over a period of time, but yeah, these are like high level principle. How can I make people know each other? Yeah, the more I know, make them know each other, they understand each other's strength, weaknesses, probably that helps me in moving forward. Yeah, so that's something we can clearly say that this is the whole thing which is also leading to a self-organizing workshop for teams. So you can say that's something you can also add to, if I just pick up this question here, because the whole activities which help people to know each other, empathize with each other, can help you in building self-organizing team. Now, if you want to create a workshop for it, you need to creatively find out the activities which can help people. There are a lot of websites can help you. You can say the team building activities. There will be a few 10-20 lists, top 10 team building activities. If you search that query, it will produce sufficient amount of results on Google. And then depending upon the feasibility, context, online, offline space, you can also find various activities in the online space. You help people know each other. Again, one activity will not necessarily do the magic. It's just a kind of an ice breaking. It's just a starting of the reaction. The reaction can stop after some time, or you need to substantiate it with the regular behavior and regular enforcement, so the reaction continues and people end up working well with each other. That's something is there. And a different environment may require different amount of team collaboration as well. There could be some environment where you are too much contractually obliged and all, so that expectation might be might be at different level. Yeah. Okay, so that's something is generic. Okay, so we can say that what do I do if my product owner push you to do everything? Now, if that is happening, what will happen as a result? Like, we teach conflict management, and one of the conflict management technique is forcing, where I force you to follow my idea. Yeah. And what is understood is that that's a worse way of resolving conflict if you care for relation. That's the best way of resolving conflict. If I don't care, this team disappears tomorrow, I will hire some other team. This vendor get kicked off tomorrow, I will hire another vendor. Then I can do forcing. So we need to understand, if we are working into a space where we are easily replaceable, the customers will force because they have alternatives available. Yeah. And if we are working in a space where it has to be a partnership, then, and on top of it, if the customer is forcing, the customer is going to lose, because people will disappear. There is no shortage of work. Why should I work in a team where my stakeholder don't listen to me? So at the end of it, there will be, you yourself will also disappear. So we need to understand, working in the environment, if you realize the environment is itself where people just force. I'm not saying it's not agile or agile, whatever it is, even if it's a non-agile, so-called non-agile environment, that's not a healthy environment. And a good creative productive team will not be there after a while. Now, does it mean the forcing is always a bad idea? There could be some crisis. So when you have a crisis, we need to behave according to the crisis. There could be a situation where the product owner is saying, I don't care if you work 24 hours, 48 hours, you work on the weekend, we must get this done. There could be a situation, I can't explain you right now. There could be a situation where the brainstorming cannot happen. We need to understand if that situation is demanding that, then we just need to do it. But if those kind of situations are coming every day, then who wants to work in a situation where there is always crisis? So it all depends upon what work we are doing, in which culture we are working, and where do we want to work in a long term. So in general, where the environment is forcing oriented, I believe things will not work out after some time, and you need to manage. How do you manage them? You will also create your boundaries. You will find your shortcuts. This guy will force, we don't tell him anything, we just disappear. And after that, we will tell, oh, we could not finish it. So people will take those kind of shortcut. Now, if you are the person in between, you can make the person realize there is nothing going to happen. You keep forcing it. People will disappear on Friday until Monday. Nothing is going to work. You can keep saying that I want this, I want this, I want this. They will not do it. Yeah, they will never say no to you, but they will not do it. So if you have that situation, you can make it clear so that people don't make assumption. If you are not in that situation, then you understand this thing will not going to survive for very long. Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah, but I'm sure all of us has been through at some point in time in those kind of environment, and we have learned our lesson and we have taken things forward as well. Yeah. Okay, so how to reduce the cost of poor quality in agile projects? So idea here is the essence of quality is reducing cost. Yeah. So quality is all about reducing cost. And if you don't have a quality, you will have a high cost. Simple. Yeah. Irrespective of life cycle. Now we need to be clear what is quality. Quality in general, you need to have a clear definition of it. So one of the possible definition is how well we are meeting our customer expectation. Yeah. So it's like if the customer is paying 10, we are doing something which worth 10. We are not necessarily doing something which worth 100. So there is always a trade-off. What customer pay, what customer expect, and usually that thing is called grade. Yeah, so we need to serve service as per our grade of the product or things which are working on. Now, when we have an expectation set, we need to meet those expectations. Now, if we do those expectations, the quality work while we are doing quality assurance and quality control related activities, be it agile projects, you need to have a good definition of done. You need to ensure that you are continuously working on improving your definition of done and taking care of work on a given sprint. And what is the benefit of it? You don't get an unnecessarily technical depths and rework because of quality problems. You get less defect, and when you have a less defects, you help in improving the work and reducing the cost. If that is not your current situation, what do you do about it? You retrospect about it. We can't give a recommendation. We need to come together and say, guys, who wants to work on defect all the time? Why we end up working on defects 40% of our sprint? How can we reach to a situation where we don't work on defects more than 5% in our sprints? Yeah. So what should we do so that we don't get into a rework? And I believe personally, like as a programmer as well, I think nobody wants to work on defects. Yeah, we want to do a fresh work. We want to do a new work as a programmer as well. So once I see that I can reduce this whole messy rework by way of doing something early, we can brainstorm and find out how can we do that. So depending upon the context, depending upon skills, it might require some skill training, it might require some investment in the infrastructure, it might require different kind of planning. We may need to give more time for designing and analysis related activities for a given work item than we were doing before. We may need to take help from some external tools or external consultants to find out something to be improved. So depending upon the context, you need to work out your plan. Yeah. Okay. How to evaluate individual contribution within the user story, which would help in a next sprint capacity planning. So in general, the agile way of doing planning is a team level planning rather than individual level planning. So the mechanism and the basic reason is we want to have a collaboration. You can see that many discussion happened in today's call where people were talking about how do we make people collaborate? How can we bring a psychological safety? So if we start focusing on you did this and that person did this, it may result into a behavior. This issue is not coming because of my work. I only did this part in the user story. Now don't tell me if something is going wrong because I only did this part. So we don't want to create boundaries. We don't want to create such kind of issues. And that's why the overall capacity is based on the team. As a team, how can you work and improve these things further? Now, it doesn't mean that organization will not have individual level performance feedback process. You can have the feedback process, but that feedback process may not be based on how many hours you have given in a given user story and what you did. You can have some kind of agreement on the goals and the KPIs periodically, and you can reflect on those goals and KPI to find out what kind of a feedback can help the individual in learning, growing more. Yeah, so you can have your one-on-one process to support individuals moving forward, and that ultimately may help you to improving your overall team capacity also to take care of the work. So basically we do capacity planning at a team level rather than an individual level. And individual level, there could be a feedback process which is based on the KPIs, which helps you to continue improving the individual along with collaboration. Yeah, because we don't want to have a situation where we convert collaboration into competition and then we wonder how can we create a self-organizing team. Yeah, so that's something we can keep it in mind. Okay, so how do we get a buy-in into a mentor, coach, customer, organization, engineer, product owner, sponsor, business analyst? Okay, so I think the question means is how do I enter into the system? I am going into the client organization as a coach. How do I make them accept me? Yeah, how do I make them like me, something like that, or listen to me or follow my advices? That seems to be the question, probably. And various roles, product owner, business analyst, scrum master, and different people may have their different things. Yeah, that's something is also possible. So it's a simple process which we need to focus on. How do I become useful? The same thing which we spoke about, I am entering into a new Scrum team. How do I enter into the new Scrum team? More or less the same thing. Yeah, maybe when you are going to a client location, it may become more complicated because there are more political and environmental issue. Inside a organization, you are joining a Scrum Master, you may face some challenges, but not at that level, but there will be a challenges there as well. So I need to focus on how do I empathize with them? How am I adding value? And how do I know about their business? So one of the basic thing which usually faced by the external coaches is a credibility. Like if you advise something, what is your credibility? How can you say something? And why should I listen to you? So when I am entering into the new system, I need to be very clear how much I know about the system, how much I know about the organization, and how and when I should give an advice, and what is the authenticity attached to that advice. Now, authenticity could be coming based on the examples which customers are facing through, maybe a case study of their customer base only. Till the time you don't have that kind of authentic information to advise, probably you more focus on coaching approach where you ask questions and try to show something as your observation rather than conclusion. So you may focus on doing problem analysis to demonstrate a possible interpretation of the problem and then take an agreement. Is this interpretation right? And if they agree to, then you move forward. Yeah. Or you, rather than giving the direct advice, you put that advice as a possible alternative, or you ask a question rather than telling what to do till the time you have an expertise about it. So usually the telling thing should be avoided in general by the coaches, because they will never be as expert as the people who are working in that particular system day in day out. I cannot probably advise a product owner who is working on that particular product day in day out. I might be spending hardly 2% of the time on the product if I compare my time with the product owner's time's investment. So with that 2% time, I probably don't want to give an advice. But I may have a little perspective. The product owner might be blocked by some perspectives because he might be having his own blind spots and prejudices, which makes him not to see various things. I possibly can highlight them, but I am not sure if they are right thing. So I need to be tentative about my conclusion and put a questions rather than advices. So observe, learn, build your credibility by way of learning and observing things. Do some data analysis and support thing which can help people to make decisions. Rather than making decisions, ask questions and show the data or observation based on what you have learned in the organization. Once these things starts working, there could be a stage where people will start asking you advice. What do you think? What should we do? And those are the time where you need to decide, are you ready to give an advice or you need to still ask question only. Yeah. So the question is that do the subject matter experts who are shared amongst the different Scrum team should be considered in capacity planning of each teams? Usually they are not. Usually they are not. Again, it's a context sensitive thing because it's difficult for them to commit a very specific thing. So usually they are considered as a support where they have a kind of an agreement. You give a 3 job to them and they agree or disagree to do that particular job. That kind of a commitment is more needed rather than you try to utilize their given hours in your Scrum team. If you are trying to utilize their hours, then it might become a little difficult because there are variations. So say if I am the person, I have 8 hours. I divide my 8 hours to 2 hours to 4 teams. Yeah. And I start my first job because I am starting, and the 2 hours becomes 3 hours. Now, which other team's hours will get removed? Or I should just stop after 2 hours and say, these 2 hours are done. I am unable to finish this work. I need to work on something else. So it becomes very difficult when you have a shared individuals and then you are also bringing them into a capacity planning. Usually the shared individuals should be given more contingencies because their delays can impact other teams. So usually I see organization not including their capacity in their capacity planning usually. Yeah. And that's why the Scrum tells work on cross-functional team. The idea of Scrum is reduce such kind of dependency, keep it to a minimum so you don't have to get into the difficulty or analysis of should I include their capacity planning or not. Yeah. So Scrum will says don't have it. Yeah. Try to have more and more cross-functional team. Okay, so let me check if there is something on the chat which I have not yet shared. Uh, we have final 10 minutes. You can probably put something if you have. So I guess I have shared some of the ideas. So what do you want to know if you do the SAFe training? Yes, we do SAFe trainings. Yeah, we do SAFe trainings and certification. We do many SAFe trainings and certification. I personally teach leading SAFe very often, at least once in a month. Yes. Okay, I think it's done. Let me go down and see if we have something new. Okay, so looks like we are done. We have taken care of the queries which we got till now. So in case something, again, I don't think that I know the answers. The idea here is they are just opinion, and the whole objective of conversation is that we listen to the opinion and then we see how it works in our context. So agile way of working, the basic way of working is that I need to own my decision. I need to find out what is right for me, but I can understand some of the context coming from here and there, and I can probably evaluate if those ideas make sense for me or not. So please listen to my ideas as an opinion rather than I don't think they are always right. So probably you need to see what works for you in your context. Yeah. Yeah, but those kind of answers are perfectly right. When I say yes, we do SAFe trainings, that's perfectly good. When our say Jira training includes these things, that's perfectly right. And if when I talk about something on our YouTube channel, it's definitely there. Yeah. Yeah. So user stories and story points, we do have 4 videos on our YouTube channel explaining you about story point. because the estimation process is a little complicated thing. So I spoke about what is estimation in the agile context, what is story point estimation, why do we have a non-linear series, and then a process of doing estimation by way of doing planning poker. And the final video talks about how the story points and effort are not the same thing. Yeah. So it's not like one story point equals to 8 hours, 9 hours. They do correlate, but not always the same thing. So these 4 videos, I assume, can help individuals, especially if you are new into the agile and scrum space, to get a fair understanding of what is story point, how should I use it, and I recommend you to check that out. That's something I can say. Yeah. Okay, so we have a question. I am looking for ACP APM certificate. So I think you are talking about ICP APM certificate. Yeah, Agile project program, Agile project product management, something like this. So we do have that program. Yeah, we do have that program. That's something is there. But yeah, we are not doing those batches recently. Yeah. So that's something is the reason. One of the reason is what I observed by doing this program for a while. There is a good amount of content overlap with the basic agile program like CSM and all. And many times from a word it looks like little advanced program, but people find it okay, there is something mismatch. So it's like a version where there is a management flavor and there is a CSM flavor. That's something is there. So because of that, we kind of little bit like we put this program little behind, and we are not doing that program very frequently. Yeah. That's something is there. Now if you are looking for some management side of the agile ways of working, primarily, so I would recommend doing a PMP certificate if you have not done it already. That's the best thing to do from a management side, because it takes care of agile as well as non-agile space. That's one thing. If you are looking for a generic starting space in the agile, then CSM is good. So on top of CSM, I think PMP is the best idea rather than just doing ICP APM, because it talks about sufficiently what is agile and all those stuff as well. Yeah. So yeah. But if you have a specific need, your research tells that this program is seen and wanted in the organization space, then we can help you to get it. Yeah, that's something we can definitely do if you have a business case for it. Again, yeah, we do see people coming and finding PMP's business case very strong, but maybe each search is a different thing. So we do see PMP coming up as a one of the popular certificate in the agile jobs as well. But again, yeah, your search is your search, and that's something is there. Yeah. So yeah, if you have something we can explore. As of now, we don't have it. Yes. Yeah. Drop us an email so we keep you in our list, and then if we get few more, then we probably schedule this particular program.
Rakesh is already in our list.
Okay, perfect. Then we see if we get something coming
Sure.
in. Yes. Yeah. Okay, so anything else other than this? Anyone before we conclude the call today? So this was our fourth Friday, I guess. Yeah, so the next will be the second Friday. So incidentally, the 1st July is Friday and the 8th July is Friday. So I think our next session will happen on 8th July. That's what I can see it here. And more or less the format remains the same. In case if you want to share something, talk about something, please feel free to join our clubhouses or our Instagram channel as well. So we do post some small videos there, and if you have a specific query, if you post somewhere on the Instagram as well, you can definitely get a response on an ongoing basis. Because what we are observing is the ongoing communication on a day-to-day basis. If you have some idea, the YouTube comment is also an option, and if something is little more typical or critical, we may convert that into a post or some information at Instagram as well, probably with the help of small reel or small video. So do watch something which we are putting on Instagram. They are small videos. So 𝐻𝐸𝐿𝐻𝐸𝐻𝐸 official is the is the channel, and that's something can help you. Yeah. Okay, so we have a question probably before we close. So is a good approach to let your BA PO owns the refinement session, given that that she changes things a lot within the sprint? Okay, so again, you need to do a retrospective. So what I'm learning here is, you see the refinement session was facilitated by product owner, and then you see the lot of things are getting changed during this sprint. Yeah. Now, what is the definition of change? There could be a clarification. Yeah, is that that's something can happen during the sprint. But if you are getting more ideas, less ideas, and you see that this could have been refined before, then there is a need for intervention in the refinement process. So as a part of your retrospective, you might be getting that who all are attending, and if you see the problem is who all are attending, we should fix that problem. Now, not necessarily you facilitate yourself, but we need to give a feedback. We need to give a feedback as a team, as a scrum master, in the form of a coaching to the product owner, that this is something we are observing, and what do you think can help here? Is there anything you need from me which can help you in doing this? So if I see my product owner just doing refinement with few individuals, and the stakeholder comes later and then they intervene and we can't resist and we end up changing a lot of things inside the sprint, I probably want to ask, why can't we involve these people early? And the person may say, I don't have an energy to talk to them and bring them onto the session. Then you may want to offer your help to do that particular job. Yeah. So definitely, if the refinement is giving you a challenge, you need to find a way to fix it. Probably you can make your product owner fixing it yours, or you need to assist them in fixing it. Yeah. So it's all about collaboration. You don't have to solve all the problem yourself, but at the same time, you can't let the problem unaddressed. So there has to be a feedback. There has to be a learning. There has to be an acknowledgement. There has to be transparency of the problem. So as a Scrum Master, I am responsible for exposing that problem. May not necessarily I am capable of solving all the problems, but I should be able to expose all the problems as much I can see. That something goes as a role of a leader. Yeah. Good. So that's what we planned for today. We are approaching our closing time. As I said, continue the interaction with the help of YouTube comments or Instagram comments, and see you on 8th of July, the second Friday, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kumkum, yes.
Yeah, same time. And the recording of this session will be available on the same link. So you can
Yeah.
watch the recording. Yeah.
That's an
So
important info as well. Yeah.
yeah, so I think we have covered lots of information, and thank you very much, guys, for joining and adding value in these sessions and asking a wonderful questions and clarifying the others' doubts as well. So it's a wonderful session, very insightful. Thank you, Saket, for taking out time for the session. And yeah, take care of yourself and bye for now. We'll catch up again on 8th of July, same time, 7 p.m. IST. Bye for now.
Bye, everyone.